So, good day everyone. I'm Eunice Aronias and I'm from BSF1B. So, this is my report. It's all about stress less and self-care more. So, next, introduction of less stress and care more. The American Psychological Association 2017 has these statements about stress. Stress is often described as a feeling of being overwhelmed, worried, or run down. Stress can affect people of all ages, genders, and circumstances, and can lead to both physical and psychological health issues. By definition, stress is any uncomfortable emotional experience accompanied by predictable biochemical, psychological, and behavioral changes. Some stress can be beneficial at times, producing a boss that provides that drive and energy to help people get through situations like exam or works or any deadlines. However, an extreme amount of stress can have health consequences and adversely affect the immune, cardiovascular, neuroendocrine, and central nervous system. Since stress is inevitable to life, we have to learn how to handle the cope up with it. More so, we have to be familiar with the approach to a healthy lifestyle, which is self-care. So, the the abstraction of stress and human response. The American Institute of Stress (IES) has distinguished different types of stress and the human response to it. Hans Selye defined stress as the body's non-specific response to any demand, wherever it is caused by or results in pleasant or unpleasant stimuli. It is essential to differentiate between the unpleasant or harmful variety of stress, termed distress when often cannot desist, and of stress which is cannot. European use stress is in daily life that has positive connotations such as marriage, promotion, baby, winning money, new friends, and graduation. On the other hand, distress is stress in daily life that has negative connotation such as divorce or punishment or inquiry, negative feelings or financial problems, and work difficulties. So, ang less stress or marker is ay hindi mo dapat isa-isip ang iyong problema para di na maiwasan mo ang mabilisan at maiwasan ang pag-alala. Kailangan na unahin mo muna ang iyong sarili at kailangan nalagaan mo ang iyong sarili. So, the general stress of syndromes has three components. So, the three components is first is the alarm stage is to represent the mobilization of the body's defensive forces. The body is preparing for the fight or fight syndrome. This involves a number of hormones and chemicals excreted at high levels, as well as increases in heart rate, blood pressure, perspiration, and spiration rate, among others. The alarm stage is ang yugto ng alarma. So, second is the stage of resistance. Ang yugto ng paglaban. The body becomes adapted to the challenge and even begins to resist it. The length of this stage of resistance is dependent upon the body's innate and stored adaptation energy reserves and upon the intensity of the stressor, just as any machine, wears out. Even if it has been properly maintained, the same thing happens when living organisms. Sooner or later, they become the victim of his constant wear and tear process, and acquired adaptation is lost if the individual is subject to still greater exposure to a stressor. The organism then enters into the third and final stage. So, number three is the exhaustion stage. Yung ang yugto ng pagkuhap. The body dies because it has used up its resource of adaptation energy. Thankfully, few people ever experience this last stage. So next. So this is the stress response begin in the brain when someone controls an oncoming car or other danger. The eyes, ears, or both send the information to the amygdala, an area of the brain that contributes to emotional processing. The amygdala interprets the image and sound when it perceives danger. It instantly sends to a distress signal to a hypothalamus. So, the hypothalamus is a gland in your brain that controls your hormone system. So this is a hypothalamus, and next is cerebral cortex. So the cerebral cortex is a sheet of neural tissue that is outermost to the core brain of the mammalian brain. So the last is amygdala. The amygdala is the integrative center for emotion or emotional behavior and motivational. So these three of the brain. Next, list stress. So these types of stress management in your life. First is meditation. Deep breath. Hinga ng malalim. Next is exercise. Get moving. Exercise. Dapat exercise yung katawan. Then, time in nature. Relaxation or yung sa mga kalikasan. O like sa kalikasan. And sleep well, recharge. Or ka na matulog sa tamang oras. Good. Then, connect socially, join a club ka na makig-join ka sa kanang mga kagrupo or kanang mga friends mo or ini. And eat well and reduce caffeine. Eat well, food is life. And the last is make less. Prioritize task. Yung kanang imong priority good na, bukaton. Imo dyan dapat buhaton na importante. Then, next is anxiety or stress during COVID-19 is normal. So first is spend time in nature. Dapat magpalipas oras sa kalikasan. Next is take deep breaths. Yung huminga ng lalim. Then next is be gentle with yourself and the others. Yung maging banayad sa iyong sarili at sa ibang tao. So, this is a self-care ideas. Be kind to yourself. So, self-care or self-love is yung asking for help and spending time alone, and putting yourself first, and asking for what you need, and setting boundaries, and staying at home, and saying no, and forgive yourself, and talking at a step back. So, mo nang mag-self-love. Next is tips to maintaining self-care. Dapat first is drink water. Inom jud ka ng tubig. Then dapat number 2, get enough sleep. 3, eat well. 4, exercise. 5, get outside. 5, unplug from technology. So that's all. Thank you.
Techniques to counter chronic stress. Chronic stress, a consistent sense of feeling pressure and overwhelmed over a long period of time. Chronic stress can impact your overall health. The consequences of chronic stress don't stop with the physical effect. Stress can affect your emotional or mental health too, not just making prone to nervous or anxious feeling but more depressed. Tips for managing chronic stress. Get active. Physical activities can positively affect your mood and reduce stress. Try Tai Chi or other relaxation exercises. Activities like Tai Chi, yoga, meditation, or breathing exercises may take you out of your comfort zone, but they can be a worthwhile experience for many people. Prioritize your sleep. Getting enough sleep is important for many areas of your health and well-being, and its benefits on stress management are no different. Focus on what you can change. Having a sense or control can help you feel more grounded. Give yourself with some grace. It's okay if your patient sleep or you're not able to release stressful feelings as well as others. Kindness can go a long way, particularly when you're giving it to yourself. Avoid self-isolation. Surround yourself with a support network of people who can care about your well-being and use that network when you need it. The cultural dimensions of stress and coping. Cultural stress, sometimes known as a culture shock, is a very common when relocating to a new culture and should be expected with all overseas travel. Culture stress can take on many forms. The most common are depression, irritability, and homesickness. Culture stress is not derived from any one specific event or problem, but it is a symptom of the psychological discomfort of encountering different lifestyle, methods of organization, and value system that may threaten the model you have lived with all of your life. There are 4 major stages of culture. As you move through the stages, you will have down periods followed by up periods. The first downturn is your emotional level is easy to anticipate but frequently the second downturn, which occurs after a period of resolution and happier emotions, is a frequently more marked and severe. The first stage of culture stress is actually quite pleasant. It's marked by a sense of euphoria and elation. Everything is new and exciting, and you will see many similarities between your culture and host culture. Oftentimes, travelers set goals too high and expect too much of themselves, and the letdown is inevitable. Then you enter into a stage of hostility and irritability and tend to focus on the differences between cultures and view those differences negatively. You may feel the need to sleep or eat more than usual, may have difficult controlling your temper, or suffer from frequent crying spell. The third stage is a gradual transition when you will slowly begin to feel more comfortable in your new surroundings. Finally, you will enter the fourth stage of culture stress, which is marked by feeling at home in your host culture. Students who will make it to this fourth stage before leaving will find that overall will have a good experience despite all the challenges. Often, students find the desire to return home gradually disappear as they work through the stages of culture stress. The best remedy for culture shock is time and perseverance. Try to keep yourself busy with activities and spend time with people you enjoy. Too much free time can lead to isolation and loneliness, and keep busy will help you refrain from getting down and missing home. Try to make it a point to visit as many new places as you can, and you will find the experience teach you much, not only about your host country but also about yourself, and help you ward off culture stress.
So, in short, self-care therapy is a positive way to conquer stress. So, ay balok-balokon ka. So, in short, a positive way to counter stress is self-care therapy. Nancy, a person in 2008 of Northern Illinois University, has provided steps for self-care. So first, stop, breathe, and tell yourself, yeah, what? So first, stop, breathe, and tell yourself, this is hard and I will get through this, one step at a time. During an unexpected event or crisis, we are faced with dealing with a new reality, and it takes time to incorporate what happened into our everyday lives. Identify the steps you need to take first, write them down, and focus on each step one at a time. If you look at everything you have to do, you will become overwhelmed. Remember, you can only do one thing at a time and focus exclusively on that one thing. So, meaning, sa hindi inaasahang kaganapan o krisis, nahaharap tayo sa isang bagong katotohanan at nangangailangan ng oras upang maisama ang nangyari sa ating pang-araw-araw na buhay. At tukuyin ang mga hakbang na kailangan mo munang gawin. Isulat ang mga ito at tumuon sa bawat hakbang ng paisa-isa. Kung titingnan mo ang lahat ng kailangan mong gawin, ikaw ay mabibigo. Tandaan na maaari mo lang gawin ang isang bagay sa isang pagkakataon at tumuon eksklusibo sa isang bagay na iyon. Second, acknowledge to yourself what you are feeling. All feelings are normal, so accept whatever you are feeling. Once you recognize, name, and accept your feelings, you feel less out of control. You can then find a comfortable place to express your feelings during periods of extreme stress and grief. It is very hard to hold back your feelings, particularly your tears and anger. So, meaning, kilalanin sa iyong sarili kung ano ang iyong nararamdaman. Lahat ng nararamdaman ay normal, kaya tanggapin mo kung ano ang iyong nararamdaman. Kapag nakilala mo ang iyong pangalan at tinatanggap ang iyong nararamdaman, hindi ka na makontrol. Pagkatapos ay makakahanap ka ng komportableng lugar para ipahayag ang iyong nararamdaman. Sa panahon ng regla na matinding stress at kalungkutan, napakahirap pigilan ang iyong nararamdaman, lalo na ang iyong mga luha at galit. This is normal, so describe this as grieving or sadness or anger. You are not falling apart, you are grieving or feeling angry or sad. It is important during this time of intense feelings to own your feelings and not hurt yourself or lash out at someone else. So meaning, ito ay normal, kaya ilalarawan ito bilang pagdadalamhati o kalungkutan o galit. Hindi ka nahulog, nagdalamhati ka o nagagalit o nalulungkot. Mahalaga sa panahong ito na matinding damdamin na pagmamay-ari ang iyong nararamdaman at hindi saktan ang iyong sarili o manloko sa isang tao at iba pa. Humanap ng taong makikinig at tumatanggap. Hindi mo kailangan ng payo, kailangan mong pakinggan. Ang pagbabahagi ng ating kwento ay kung paano tayo magsisimulang tanggapin kung ano man ang mangyari at isama ito sa ating bagong realidad. Marahil ay kailangan mo na lang bitawan ang iyong mga inaasahan kung paano dapat ang mga bagay Ang pakikipag-usap tungkol sa iyong mga damdamin at paniniwala ay ang simula ng prosesong iyon. 4. Maintain your normal routine as much as possible. Making everyday decisions, deciding to get dressed, doing the dishes, or going to work gives you a sense of control and feels comforting, as it is a familiar activity. Be realistic with what you can do, and remember everything right now will take you longer to do. Avoid making major decisions based on the stress you feel right now. So meaning, panatilihin ang iyong normal na gawain hanggat maaari. Ang paggawa ng mga pang-araw-araw na desisyon, pagpapasya ng bihis, maghugas ng pinggan o magtrabaho ay nabibigay sa iyo ng kontrol at nakakaramdam ng kaaliwan dahil ito ay isang pamilyar na aktibidad. Maging makatotohanan sa kung ano ang maaari mong gawin at tandaan na ang lahat sa ngayon ay magtatagal sa iyong gagawin. Iwasang gumawa ng malalaking desisyon batay sa stress na nararamdaman mo ngayon. Fifth, allow plenty of time for a task. You will not be as productive as you normally are. Accept how much you are able to do right now and recognize it will not be this way forever. During periods of extreme stress, prolonged stress, or after a crisis, your ability to concentrate and focus on tasks is diminished and it will take time for your concentration to return. So give yourself extra time and be gently and accepting of yourself and what you can do. So meaning, maglaan ng maraming oras para sa isang gawain. Hindi ka magiging kasing produktibo gaya ng karaniwan mong tinatanggap kung gaano mo kayang gawin ngayon at kilalanin na hindi ito magiging ganito magpakailanman. So sa panahon ng matinding stress, matagal na stress o pagkatapos ng isang krisis, ang iyong kakayahang mag-concentrate at tumuon sa gawain ay nababawasan at kakailanganin ng oras para bumalik ang iyong konsentrasyon. Kaya bigyan ang iyong sarili ng karagdagang oras at malumanay at tanggapin ang iyong sarili at kung ano ang maaari mong gawin. 6. Take good care of yourself. Remember to. So, pangalagaan ng sarili, ang iyong sarili at kailangan itong tandaan. A. Get enough rest and sleep. Sleep at least 6 hours and not more than 9 hours. If you are having difficulty sleeping, listen to peaceful or slow music and or do progressive relaxation before you go to sleep. Sleep helps our mind, our body, health, and strengthens our immune system. B. Eat regularly and make healthy choices. Kumain ng 3 beses sa isang araw at panatilihing maging malusog. Skipping meals, particularly breakfast, contributes to fatigue, mood swings, and poor concentration. Healthy food choices, not high in simple sugars, maintain blood sugar level, energy, and concentration of the body. C. Know your limits and when you need to let go. Some problems are beyond our control. If something cannot be changed, work at accepting it for what is it. Resist the urge to fix the unfixable or try to control the uncontrollable. Sometimes a mantra helps. It is what it is, and just need to accept it. For things within your control, remember that change takes time. If you are holding on and need to let go, journal about it. D. Identify or create a nurturing place in your home. A rocking chair, a nice view, and a soothing music are important components to a nurturing place. 20 minutes of spending in a rocking chair reduces both your physical pain and anxiety. It is like giving yourself a hug. Music and nature sounds nurture our being and lifts our spirits. E. Practice relaxation or meditation. Go to your nurturing place and listen to guided relaxation tapes. Time spent in meditation or prayer allows your mind and body to slow down and let go of the stress. Take a mental vacation in the midst of stress by relaxing your body, shutting your eyes, and visualizing yourself in your favorite vacation spot or quiet haven. F. Escape for a while through meditation, reading a book, watching a movie, or taking a self-compassion therapy. Self-compassion is another way to counter stress. Isa rin itong paraan para malabanan ang stress. Kristen Neff, 2012, has discussed self-compassion in her article, The Science of Self-Compassion. Self-compassion entails being warm and understanding toward ourselves when we suffer, fail, or feel inadequate, rather than flagellating ourselves with self-criticism. It recognizes that being imperfect and experiencing life difficulties is inevitable, so we soothe and nurture ourselves when comforting our pain rather than getting angry when life feels short of our ideas. We clearly acknowledge our problems and shortcomings without judgment so we can do what is necessary to help. Then we cannot always get what we want. We cannot always be who we want to be. When this reality is denied or resisted, suffering arises in the form of stress, frustration, and self-criticism. When this reality is accepted with benevolence, however, we generate positive emotions of kindness and care that help us cope. Self-compassion recognizes that life challenges and personal failures are part of being human, an experience we all share. In this way, it helps us to feel less desolate and isolated when we are in pain. So, lastly, self-compassion praises. Neff provided self-compassion praises when feeling stress or emotional pain. Perhaps when you are caught in a traffic jam, arguing with a loved one, or feeling inadequate in some way, it is helpful to have a set of praises memorized to help you remember to be more compassionate to yourself in the moment. And you can take a deep breath. Put your hand over your heart or gently hug yourself if you feel comfortable doing so, and repeat the following phrases. This is a moment of suffering. Suffering is a part of life. May I be kind to myself. May I give myself the compassion I need. These phrases capture the essence of the three components of self-pain. You can also just simply say, "This is really hard right now," or "This hurts." The second phrase reminds us that suffering unites all living beings and reduces the tendency to feel ashamed and isolated when things go wrong in our lives. The third phrase begins the process of responding with self-kindness rather than self-criticism. The final phrase reinforces the idea that you both need and deserve compassion in difficult moments. Be experimental with the phrases. Other phrases that may feel more authentic in a given situation are, May I accept myself as I am. May I forgive myself, or may I learn to accept what I cannot change. By Neff, 2012. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. So, my name is Eunice Aronias. My assigned topic is self-compassion. Self-compassion is yung pakikiramay. Self-compassion presses. Nave provided self-compassion press when feeling stress or emotional pain, perhaps when you are caught in a traffic jam, arguing with a loved one, or feeling inadequate in some way. It is helpful to have sit press memories to help you remember to be more compassionate to yourself. In the moment, you can take a deep breath. Put your hand over your heart or gently hug yourself if you feel comfortable doing so, and repeat the following praise. So this is a um, following phrase. This is a moment of suffering. Suffering is a part of life. May I be kind to myself. May I give myself the compassion and I need. This phrase captured the essence of the three components of self. Compassion, the first, is pressed to help mindfully, often to the setting of emotional pain. You can also just simply say, "This is really hard right now," or "This hurts." The second phrase reminds us that suffering unites all living beings and reduces the tendency to feel ashamed and isolated when things go wrong in our lives. The third phrase begins the process of responding with self-kindness rather than the self-criticism. The final phrase reinforces the idea that you both need and observe compassion. In difficult moments, be experimental with praise. Other praise that may feel more authentic in a given situation are: may I accept myself as I am, may I forgive myself, or may I learn to accept that I can change. So, for me, um, sa self-compassion praise is yung sariling pakikiramay ay pakikidalamhati, pagpaabot ng simpatsya o pagtulong upang magkaroon ng kapanatagan ang kalooban ng isang tao, or yung i-comfort mo yung isang tao upang di siya masyadong masaktan. Next is, so this is what is the self-compassion? So I know ang self-compassion. So first is mindfulness. So mindfulness o yung pag-iisip o yung makatwiran na panindigan or pag-iisip na makatuon sa pagpili kung sino o ano ang paniniwalaan o gawing kilos. So next is self-kindness. Ang self-kindness is yung kabaitan sa sarili. Yung ay ang pagpapakita ng pagrespeto, pagtulungan at higit sa lahat, may pananalig sa Diyos. Next is connectedness. So, connectedness ay yung pagkakaugnay ay tumutukoy sa pagkaroon ng koneksyon ng isang bagay. So, that's all my assigned topic. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Rafa Mirocan. My topic is all about self-compassion and emotional well-being. One of the consistent findings in the research literatures is that greater self-compassion is linked to less anxiety and depression. Ang self-compassion daw or pagmamalasakit sa sarili is can lessen the anxiety or pagkabalisa and depression. Key features of self-compassion is the lack of self-criticism. Ang key features sa self-compassion is kulang sa pagpuna sa sarili, self-criticism, like those nagpabaya lang sa sarili or kanang walay pakialam sa iya gibati bahalag na sakitan na. Self-criticism is known to be an important predictor of anxiety and depression. Ang self-criticism is the important predictor sa anxiety and depression. So, kung kulang ka sa self-criticism, mas dali kang ma-predict sa anxiety and depression. Self-compassion still offers protection against anxiety and depression with controlling the self-criticism and negative effect. Self-compassion daw still offer protection laban sa anxiety and depression. Habang kinokontrol mo ang self-criticism and negative effect. Is associated with great wisdom and emotional intelligence, suggesting the self-compassion represents a wiser way of dealing difficult emotion. Ang self-compassion daw represent as a wise way for dealing difficult emotions. Self-compassionate people recognize with the suffering but are kind toward themselves in this moment, acknowledging their connectedness with the rest of humanity. Engage in rumination and think superstitionless often the law in self-compassion. Ang naa daw pagmabalasakit sa sarili is naa siya'y time para magmuni-muni at pagpigil kay sa law in self-compassion. Like nasakitan ka, your self-compassion help you para makapag-isip at mapigilan ang iyong nararamdaman. Self-compassion appears to be bolster states of being as well. Self-compassion is malakas at positivity and possibility. By warming one's pain in warm embrace of self-compassion, positive feelings and generated that helps balance the negative ones left 2012. Like nasakitan ka, sa gamit ang self-compassion is ikaw mismo ang mag-control sa self through fighting those negative effects. Remember that positive feelings balance your negative tone. Thank you.
Good day everyone. I'm Rina Rosal Pinaso from BSF 1D, and this is my assigned topic about self-compassion, motivation, and health. Self-compassion, motivation, and health is about offering to ourselves the same kind of love, care, and kindness, especially during times stress and struggle. Research support the idea self-compassion enhances motivation rather than self-indulgence. For instance, while self-compassion is negatively related to perfectionism, it has no association with level of performance and standard adapted for the self. Self-compassion people aim just high, but also recognize and accept that they have always reached their goals. Self-compassion is also linked with their personal initiative desire to reach one's full potential. Self-compassionate people have been procrastination than those who lack self-compassion. In addition, my colleague and found that self-compassion was positively associated with mastery goal The intrinsic motivation to learn and grow are negatively associated with performance called the desire to enhance one's self-image. This relationship was mediated by the lesser fear of failure and perceived self-efficacy of self-compassionate individual. The self-compassion people are motivated to achieve but for intrinsic reason that because they want garner social approval. So self-compassion is the ability to turn understanding, acceptance, and love inward. So self-compassion has being composed of three components: self-kindness, mindfulness, and common humanity. Compassion is the ability to show empathy, love, and concern to people who are in difficulty, and self-compassion is simply the ability to direct this same emotion within and accept oneself, particularly in the face of failure. So many otherwise compassionate people have the harder time showing compassionate for themselves, sometimes out of a fear of engaging in self-indulgence or self-pity, but an inability to accept areas of weakness and may lead to difficulty achieving emotional well-being.
Good day everyone. My assigned topic is about self-compassion versus self-esteem. Self-compassion is immediately associated with great levels of self-esteem as one would expect. So, ang self-compassion is nauugnay ito sa mga antas ng katangian ng self-esteem. Given that self-compassion and self-esteem are both positive attitude towards the self. Self-compassion still predicts greater happiness and optimism as well as less depression and anxiety when controlling for self-esteem. Self-esteem had robust association with narcissism. So, ang self-esteem daw is those people who has high confidence of themselves. And the self-compassion had no association with narcissism. High self-esteem, self-compassion people are less focused on evaluating themselves, feeling superior to others, worrying about whether or not others are evaluating them, defending their viewpoints, or angrily reacting against those who disagree with them. So, ang high self-esteem o high self-compassion is hindi nila gaanong sinusuri ang kanilang sarili, thinking that they are superior than others. Ayaw nilang pinagsasabihan ng iba sa mga bagay-bagay. Self-esteem is thought to be an evaluation of superiority, inferiority that helps to establish social rank, stability, and is related alerting, energizing, impulses, and dopamine activation. Ang self-esteem is naisip bilang pagsusuri ng kataasan o kahabaan o kababaan upang makatulong sa pagtatag ng panlipunang ranggo at related to alerting, energizing at pag-activate ng domain. While self-esteem positions the self in self-competition with others and amplifies feelings of distinctness and separation, self-compassion enhances feelings of safety and interconnectedness. Halimbawa is nandun ka sa isang laro or kompetensya. Sa self-esteem is iniisip mong ikaw na talaga yung panalo. Ibali ka ng taas kayo kag confidence nga makadaog yung kaana nga dola. Kay ikaw ang pinaka maayo sa tanan. Samantala, kung naa ka sa self-compassion is ini-enjoy mo lang yung ginagawa mo para hindi ka mahirapan or nais mo lang ng enjoyment sa buhay.